Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show. Hi there everyone, hi.
Did I tell you? Hello, Holly, Charles, and of course young David pressing the buttons. Did I tell you I listened to the Howard Stern show? You can listen to it on YouTube because he was recording when the towers hit.
Oh wow!
So so what year was this? What was it?
2001.
Yeah. So it's like his show's a 4-hour show from like 10 in the morning to whatever.
They got live reaction basically.
Yeah. So and it's a call-in show.
Wow.
And he's in New York. And I don't like him anyway. I think he's the most overrated. It's just shock jock. It's lazy. It's crap. It's not.
I don't get it. I know he's very popular
I don't
in
get it.
America. It's maybe comedy's subjective.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And like I know that there's lots of American comedians who I'm like, I don't really get, but they're big in America. So that style, that it's just kind of like,
But it's nothing. It's like I said, it's both. All his things of. I always think this, right? If you listen, close that door on there. Like who's the American one who always wears the interviewer who wears the thing? He's about 90, always wears a blue shirt, been around for 50
Larry
years.
King.
Yeah.
He died recently.
Yeah. So whenever I see somebody and they go, oh, he's amazing, this fella's been around for years, I think, right, when I watch the show or whatever it is, if I took you and put you onto a presenter course on day one, they'd go, mate, this is not for you. You're lazy. It's like you sit there,
Yeah.
you're not bothered, you sort of, because they get comfortable.
Yeah.
And they're not trying anymore. That's clearly haven't researched. So like when you listen to
Larry King, you're not trying anymore, yeah.
No, but go and watch a Larry King, and he's like, oh, I don't know. And another boring question about nothing. And you go, well, you get some bloody energy. Just do something. Don't just sit there like you're about to die. Because it's nothing. No, anyone could do what he does. It's not even like that's his style. It's just nothing. So anyway, so when you listen to Howard Stern, it's him mumbling, talking crap. It's this weird sort of, it's not a real conversation, and he's not trying. So it's like it's nothing. It's like anyone could do what you're doing, and he'll say closed sentences, and then no one will say anything.
And you can't answer.
Yeah,
How do you
go,
answer
well,
that?
I'm not, and you go, how did you get this job? Why you says you're really good at your job? But anyway, so you listen to it. I mean it's embarrassing. Like, so the thing hits and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of idiots sat there in the background and they're all saying stupid stuff. Then the other one hit and they go, okay, terrorism, blah, blah, blah. And then they start him and the who's the black chick on there? She's on the back. She's constantly laughing for no reason. It's ridiculous. She's like, well, we need to just go over there and bomb the place. Bomb the country, flatten it. And he's going, well, why don't we just go over there and now just flatten them, turn it into a car park? They're animals anyway.
Wow.
And you go, what are you a fucking halfwit? Like, this is a national station. And you're saying, you don't know anything, by the way.
Yeah.
But you're going, well, bomb, it must be them. And
they haven't even got the full information.
They've got nothing.
No idea.
You're nothing. And you're saying, their country. Whose country? You don't know anything. And they're animals. That's the main host of a national channel. She went, yeah, let's just go and turn it into a car park. Let's just obliterate it all. Then someone phones up. Okay, I'm sick of, now this is what he's saying, I'm sick of all these towel heads with the dots. I'm going down to New York with a rifle. And they were going, look, just calm down a little bit. Go, no, I'm not taking it.
About the racial.
Yeah, the towel heads, the ones with the dot. And you go, you know nothing. You don't know anything. What?
I'm saying.
No, this is
the race. I know you're describing the racism.
No, I'm saying, yeah.
You've got to make sure it's right.
No. You should say things like, because that's how fucking stupid he is. Like, he's using those terms. You want to go, well.
How is that allowed? Surely there are laws against that.
I suppose. Go on.
I think under the First Amendment, they do have they don't see their radio broadcast, their TV, like the sort of broadcast TV that you get, without the subscription or whatever, is very heavily regulated.
Yeah.
But then the radio doesn't seem to be,
Yeah.
because they can just
doesn't follow
from
the same
blind to
rules.
do whatever the heck they want.
Plus, it's got to be about complaints.
For morning shows, like some of their morning shows, they follow that format, the sort of shock jock thing. And with all these regional shows and stuff, and they're effing blind and getting up to all sorts of stuff that wouldn't be allowed on English.
Yeah, they're not going to.
No
Nobody
way.
on that channel is going to complain. Do you know what I mean? They're half in morons anyway.
That's why they're listening.
But to say
Yes,
to
enjoy it.
describe those people like that just goes, you don't know what you hate. What have you seen something on TV and now you hate some type of brown charity work? What's you hate? And I'm going to go, no, I've had enough. I'm going down, let it shoot. And they were saying, look, stop being silly. Like, don't do anything stupid. But I think you're the host saying we're going to go and just flatten them. Why we can take them out there and they think they're out a country of animals. And I was like, fucking out. Like,
a lot of people lost their minds around that time.
no, you're a broadcaster.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah,
it's irresponsible,
Yeah.
that type of thing, especially not having a full picture.
Yeah.
You don't know what the
Yeah.
heck's going on. But a lot of people did lose their minds. Famously, comic book writer and artist Frank Miller.
yeah,
Okay.
You might know from
Barbarian.
such things as 300, Sin City.
yeah. Conan, didn't you do Conan? I thought he drew the Conan things. No,
Maybe. Yeah, he might have done a bit of
okay.
Conan. He did Batman stuff, so it's a lot of Batman things that you would have seen in some of the new Batman movies. That it was sort of him. He did, he sort of made Batman interesting and witty and cool.
Yeah.
And he lost his mind and just like around 9/11 and just started doing loads of racist comics, basically
Wow. Oh my God.
about terrorism and
But
Islam.
that's not
and
a
stuff.
knee-jerk reaction. He went away and did a series of racist comics.
Well, he sort of pulled it back a bit recently. Like
Right.
he's sort of been rehabilitated a
Okay.
little bit recently, but like for
Wow.
a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he pitched like a whole thing. There was a whole thing he pitched about Batman going off to the Middle East
Oh
and like
no.
murdering Osama bin Laden and like just going
Yeah.
ham, just
Oh,
going
wow.
bananas and just losing it and just killing everyone. And DC were like, nope,
Yeah.
not doing that. Nope. So he
Yeah.
actually went off and printed it independently without
Oh, he did it?
with a character called like Nightman or something. And
Did he
like
really? Wow.
it's called Holy Terror and it is terrible.
Right.
I got a copy of it.
I was
I've
going
got
to
a
say, is
copy.
that part of your collection?
Yeah, it is actually. It is actually because I did buy it just because it was just out
Yeah.
of curiosity.
Yeah.
Before he gets banned.
It'd be worth something. Yeah.
Well, it was so terrible. It's appalling, and I don't know, and the art's terrible as well. And he's a good artist, and the art's terrible, and the things it's really badly written as well. You know what I mean? Like,
It's written through anger.
yes,
Yeah.
it just and it's scratchy pictures, and he's just obviously just losing his
Jesus.
damn mind when he's doing this thing. So yeah, as I said, a lot of even decent people and a lot of clever people did just go mental.
But
around
it's
that time.
just, it's so weird, isn't it? It's just to flip out. Like,
It seems quite quaint nowadays. I think the 9/11 era.
if you go and listen to
Yeah.
it just, I think I was glad I listened to it as a social experiment to just get the snapshot as it's going. And you go, that's why America have got a lot of problems because that's like broadcast. That's
And it's still like that. I mean,
Yeah,
if you look
yeah,
at Fox News, I mean, they broadcast terrible things all the time and no one seems to, I mean, it's just not regulated.
well, recently.
Yeah, well, it's almost because I mean we banned 2 news channels in this country, and I'm not recently, and I'm not entirely sure I agree with them or not. But like Russia Today, obviously
Yeah.
recently because of their coverage of the Ukrainian conflict, but also it was the CCTV, which I always forget what it stands for. It was China. It was the Chinese state
Oh.
TV
Okay, yeah.
news network. And then
randomly
this was a couple. I can't remember. It sounded cool, didn't it?
It's
Yeah.
accidentally go, oh no.
Chinese,
Yeah.
Chinese Central TV. I don't know, Chinese Communist. I don't know.
Right.
But that got banned a few years ago as well because it didn't meet the criteria of actually being a news channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, they said you can't promote yourself as a news channel because this isn't actually news.
No, you can't. And there's the laws against it. I recently did a journalism course and I had to do a whole law exam. And it was like, it is mental. If it's broadcasting, you can't show any kind of bias towards some one thing unless you show it equally with another. So you could actually have a really hateful show. I mean, it would have a ton of complaints and you'd probably be shut down. As long as you had the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, a week later,
Yeah, they
20 minutes
can't
later,
not,
whatever.
they must have nothing like that in America because it's so ludicrous that the writing that you go,
Yeah.
this is propaganda. This is proper. So the laws can't be there.
Well, under the
Yeah.
First Amendment, they have more protections for freedom of speech, so I don't think they have to do that. I know, for instance, like libel and slander.
Yeah.
This is why Johnny Depp, for instance, lost the court case in the UK.
Yeah.
Went over to America and won it because
Oh,
because the standard is a lot lower in America. Because I think here we go. Oh, New York Times versus I think it's New York Times versus the state versus New York State.
Yeah.
Basically set the precedent that you can publish something if you believe, or say something if you believe it to be true at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the standard.
I mean, they'll get away with whatever they want.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, well, it basically means it encourages you to be stupid and not do your
Yeah.
research. Because if you're like, well, I just,
You've got a backup.
and that was kind of Trump's defense for like a lot of some of the things he was saying. It's just like, well, I don't do any research or reading.
Because you don't have to, believe it at the
Yeah,
time.
but then you've got
Yeah.
the not knowing the laws, not a defence, is it? Not being ignorant to laws isn't a defence. But again, that might be here rather
Yeah,
than...
well, no, that is true in the case, but freedom of speech, freedom of expression is sacrosanct.
Why did, what was it, Johnny, what did you say? What was the name?
Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
It was the Amber Heard case.
But why
yeah.
here and then America?
Because they found, so the case here, the judge found that they could substantiate all the claims that the newspaper had made. So they had enough witnesses, they thought, to show that the newspaper article that they'd written was true. So they just basically found enough evidence to be like, no, they were telling the truth. It's fine. It's
But how can you take
libel.
a court case to another country?
Because I think, well,
No, you carry on. It was different. It was a different scenario, but it was very similar. It was still with Amber Heard.
It wasn't the same
I
case.
think it was against the newspaper. Was it the Daily Mail or was it the Sun?
Oh, do you know, I knew this off by heart for my exam. I've forgotten now.
I think it's the Daily Mail.
It was the Star. It was the Daily Star, wasn't it?
He sued a newspaper in this country, and then they about his claim of being a wife beater.
Yeah.
And the newspaper won because they were like, we kind of
proved
have
it.
video footage of you hitting your wife.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there is
It was
footage
different cases.
And then I think she mentioned it
Yeah.
in a separate article. I think for a newspaper magazine, something that he was a wife beater, he'd hit her, and he sued her for that. So he sued her in America.
Oh, it's a different thing.
It was a different thing, I think.
She wrote a whole almost like diary biography of all the things that had happened to her. And then he was like, how dare you? Most of that's a lie.
Yeah.
And then took her to court. And that was all in America. And because it was in America, loads of the evidence could actually come out that in the UK, I don't know the ins and outs of why, but a lot of his people on his side weren't allowed to testify. I can't remember why.
Okay.
But in America, they were.
Right.
So they all came out and managed to back him up for various...
So it's two suing cases. He was suing twice, but two different places.
Once the paper, and the next time Amber Heard.
Have you been following the... I'm not going to remember the name. David, you got your phone on you? Can you Google Theranos? Have you heard of this?
What's that?
That's the lady, isn't it? I always forget. They're doing a Disney Plus show about her.
It's a big...
Oh, is this the one that said she'd do the blood test
The
in a
blue
drop
pill,
or something? Yeah, I watched a documentary on that. It was absolutely mental.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Just the name. What was the name? Emma. Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
That's it.
I always forget.
So there's a fantastic podcast.
There's a decent Disney Plus show about her, Hulu.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show, and it's a sort of
Bad blood.
docudrama.
But there's like a 20-part podcast that went out. They were the main people to investigate. So the Hulu show came because of this podcast, and they followed everyone. And it was one of those. It was in depth because it started going to everyone. That's connected to everyone. Really good. You can download it. I'll think of the name. But yeah. So the thing was that she came up with this machine that she said she could tell anything about your blood from this little drop of blood.
Yeah.
She was marketing herself on Steve Jobs. The black
He's a
Black
black
turtleneck.
turtleneck. Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when they speak,
and all these weird old investor dudes are just like this attractive young lady came around about turtleneck. They go, well, she must know what she's talking about.
And the guy
she looks like Steve Jobs. You know?
the guy that was basically backing it was like this 60-year-old little fat Asian guy, and you're going, oh god. But anyway, but
who is played in the show by a much more handsome young, a dashing, younger man. Yeah. So.
So what just you was talking about, like hitting saying. So what's happened is, so she got done for it. She got done for the fraud, and when you watch it play out, and that there was the bloke that worked with them, like the two of them became whistleblowers. Then they went after them, and the main investor was like one of the kids' dad. The whistleblower was his granddad, and the granddad was setting him up telling her that my nephew has come to meet me to whistleblow. So he had investigators on.
Wow.
Like it starts going bloody silly.
It's the biggest fraud in history. I think.
Yeah, with $9 billion. But when I first heard her, I'm not being rude. I just thought, is she like a trans? Because she's quite massive, she's quite big, tall, deep voice.
She has a very strange voice. It's like a little frog in her throat.
Yeah,
She sounds like Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
So it turns out that like she is putting on the voice.
Oh yeah, no,
So
she
they
is.
speak
Yeah,
to
yeah,
people
yeah,
that she goes, she does not sound
Well, it
like
turns out
that.
she actually doesn't have a voice like
No.
that at all.
No, she doesn't really talk like this.
And yeah,
It's because it breaks sometimes. She's been in interviews and she's like, and then it breaks. She goes, "Oh, sorry about that. Hang on a second." Then she goes, "Oh, yeah, going to go back to the voice." Yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
people she worked with said she doesn't sound like. She said when she gets drunk, it accidentally drops.
Yeah.
But the problem was, and you hate to attack this because at the time the women's movement, women power, and so she was on all the major
That's why she had so
platforms.
much support.
Yeah.
That's why it's so disappointing.
And she knew, and she
Yeah.
ran with it. But she lied so much, and it was like went through the court cases. They follow each day of the court case through this thing, and it was. Well, I didn't say yes specifically. And everyone's going, no, hang on. You said, when I asked you this, you said these are the things that are happening. Because the big thing was getting the military on the side, and she was lying about that. She said, oh, we've got these on the thing. And she was telling investors this. Yeah. And then they were saying, bringing them up on saying, yeah, she said that these things were active and things. He said, well, no, I said I didn't. Active meant we were in talks. You go, no, you didn't. You were making out like they were there, and we didn't know. But and it was all that wiggling. It was pathetic. But now, so what she got done for the fraud, and the guy, this Asian guy that she was so in love with,
have they? Because I know she was convicted. I don't think
she's been sentenced in October.
Okay, right.
And he's been the guy, the Asian guy. He's been done in November.
Oh snap! He got done too as well.
But yeah, so he got done as so what she did when she got done for the fraud, she's done. Now, all the text, everyone said she was the woman. When she walked in the room, that was it. He was funding her. It was what it was. And all the texts that came, she's like, you're my mentor. Without you, spirit stuff, constant. And I was thinking, okay. Anyway, so what's happened now? She then accused him. Now she's got done. She was accusing him of sexually assaulting her, the violence, and she's saying, "I was in a haze and I didn't." He ruined my business judgment because of what I was going through with him, and people were going, "That's not." But I think just they grab at anything. Just somebody you've been in love with, lived with.
Yeah.
She's looking at possibly 50, 60 years in prison, spending the rest of her life in prison.
But
so she's probably
just
yeah.
But to turn on someone that's done everything, given everything to you, and go,
who's going to be locked up as
well?
well?
Assaulting me, and it's not my fault.
I watched the first couple of episodes of the show, and
I'll give this podcast a shout out.
It was all right. I should watch the rest of it. But yeah, they sort of had a creepy relationship. I mean, it did go into that. It didn't duck away from that. And I'm like, yeah, this is a bit
it was creepy.
unhealthy. Yeah.
It was disappointing though, because she was so powerful and so impressive. And I'm not surprised that the whole world was taken by her, and thought also the idea she had was awesome.
Yeah.
Shame it's scientifically impossible.
Well, that's what I think that's what the show was sort of intimating, is that she believed she could make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And maybe she did. That's the sad thing.
She believed really much.
But this is why
she believed in her own ability and her own intelligence and her own, her own ability really, and to make it work. And it just never was, because that's not how physics works. Basically,
you half appreciate it. That's that you go, well, I sort of get it. It is. We live in a world of marketing, and you were doing that. But so it's the podcast called The Dropout. So if you Google that, it's absolutely
that's
fantastic.
The name of the
show, this is why the whistleblowers come out, who were young. It was their first job. They said, okay, look, you're lying. This thing clearly doesn't do what it says. But they said this was an active machine inside these Walmarts, because they ended up investing.
And
they're saying, but these were giving inaccurate. People coming in for life thing. Have I got this? Have I got that? No, you're fine. And then now having to go back, or having got something sick that you were sick and you didn't know, because they were in more. They were in
imagine that. It's almost as bad. It's almost like selling COVID tests that you knew didn't work. Yeah. And then just buy more of them, even when you knew it didn't work. Who would do such a thing?
Yeah. And at that point, you go, "Fuck you." Like it wasn't like you were testing. Have you got an ingrown toenail? This was like, have I got this disease? And thousands of people. And she's going, well, we never said exactly that this was supposed to be the thing, and you should always have got it checked else. No, and she was sending the samples to another company that was doing all the checks like a proper thing.
You're not selling someone a funky pen that maybe doesn't work. Like one of those ones that has all the different colours. You know what I mean? It never really works. It just runs out instantly. Like you're not doing that one of those. This is actually important.
And at that point, you go, F you. Because let's go to all the thousands of people that had to go and be retested to see if they had the cancer.
And it's different in America, isn't it? Because obviously people are paying for something if they haven't got the insurance or the right insurance or whatever. So they've paid the money to get this test. Then maybe they can't afford the second one.
If you go and listen to the podcast, which again is very detailed, and they go and speak to the people that might have had cancers or things like that and went there and were told I had the all clear, and then when this came through, I had to go through it all again, and it turned out I did have something, and I want to go. But now she's got £9 billion behind her, and that's the problem. So like when the whistleblowers are coming out, they were getting investigated, and this was like their first job, and they're like, I don't fucking know what to. And she's on the cover of Forbes like 3 times. Everyone went mad for her, and why she got away with the investment is because everyone sort of wanted to believe this woman.
They trusted her.
So like Walmart, they sent investigators down to the place where she worked. It turned out afterwards that she sort of wandered them around, gave them loads of, and they said, well, we went there to sort of check to make sure everything was. But now looking back, we didn't really find anything out. Yeah. She sort of like spoke to us, and there's a thing. And
she did the tour, and here's our great machine.
And everyone, there's the scientist. And
brilliant.
And we go, right, we didn't actually do what we were supposed to do. Walmart, billions of dollars.
I know. Wow. They're like, look, here's Brent Spiner from Independence Day. He knows what he's doing. He's in a lab coat. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad though, because the main guy, the guy that worked there, there was the young Asian lady and the young guy, his dad, or his granddad, who became a major investor, who then they fell out because he was the first place he went to when he said, look, she's taken, this isn't real, this doesn't work. Yeah. And he turned on his own son. And they basically fell out till the guy died. He admitted that, my nephew was right, but they never actually made up. And he said, like, I'm your nephew. I've come to you to tell you as like a trusted, and you're putting in I'm going to meet, and you've got 2 investigators to turn up at the meeting but he wouldn't have it. So there's things like that where you go, you don't give a shit. Like but everyone had bought into it, and the problem with getting that one guy on board, he was like the advisor to the US government, like third down. So he got her into the military people, and then she would have photographs with them, and then tell sort of stories about that photograph, and then people had seen that photograph.
So it's like SpaceX and Tesla, basically. Since you sort of have government backing, it kind of doesn't matter whether it works or not.
They're reputable now.
They're legitimized, and also it just means that you just got a muddy stream coming in. You don't necessarily need too many results because you've got government money coming in.
Yeah.
So.
I worried about the fact of that her wanting to be Steve Jobs and like dressing like, I thought, that's quite childish.
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
You're a billionaire. Like, why? And to say it as well, change it up and let people assume, but literally don't wear the. And that used to annoy me, because I did watch read the autobiography of the Steve Jobs. Just a horrible person, a really bad person.
Oh, really?
When people say, Steve Jobs, I think, you don't really know anything about him. He's not a nice person.
I literally know nothing.
Horrible. He's no spirituality in you at all. Like, you're a bad person, but he wanted to be somebody. But yeah, he said he would wear the same clothes, right? And people would laud him for this, saying because it gives me more time to think about other things in my day.
Yeah, you don't have to waste any time picking an outfit.
But I was thinking, what's that? Are you that weak?
Well, no,
but you can't.
I can't.
But that's part of the
so
marketing.
Fragile that I can't be.
But I think that's just part of the marketing, though. Isn't it?
But
that's his image. Like Winston Churchill, he used to pick the big cigar when he used to go out. Yeah. He said he always used to take the cigar with, because that was the image and the bowler hat and stuff.
Yeah, but I'd go with that.
That was his thing, and he used to pick intentionally a large, comically large cigar when he used to go out, because that was the thing. That was
Well, they would do that. Schwarzenegger and Stallone would always have that. But it's I go with your branding. That's your look. Simple. Go for the black, classical, whatever. But don't say because I'm so like I just need to be focusing on. That doesn't work.
Yeah,
that backfires badly on you. So so she did the same thing. I think, oh God, that doesn't make you look good. But if you're in that, it's the whole Silicon Valley thing of just getting a hard on for somebody that's, oh my God, the genie. No. she's just a kid. So what's happened is, so she obviously broke up with the Asian guy. It all fell apart. He ran out of money. And then now that when the court cases, she's now with this really, really young guy. He's like 21.
Oh, wow.
And but his family are like one of the biggest hoteliers and she immediately had a baby with him during the court case. And they're saying, well,
she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, we can't say anything, but immediately, I think he is 21, and he was like out there defending it. They've got all photographs immediately on Instagram of them like in love on the beach.
So what you're saying is this guy might be single soon.
Yeah. But
if he is, I'm out.
They spoke to the people that worked with that, and she said she's basically a pathological liar.
Yeah.
She found the young Asian guy, and they said that at best, she convinces herself, you know, so I love him because you can't fake all these texts come out. They had to go through all the texts, the fraud thing. And now with this young guy, and they said, oh yeah, and all the Instagram immediately like, can't believe, love, and go, he's a 21 billionaire's son. Like,
I always repeat George Costanza in Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld comes to him and says, you've got to teach me how to lie. And he goes, well, how can I give a lifetime's experience? He goes, you've got an hour and a half. Impart your wisdom upon me. He goes, you've got an hour and a half. This is a lifetime's experience. And he goes, one thing. He goes, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Right, yeah.
I always think of that because it's like, it's true. Like if you
genuinely convince yourself. And people have that issue. That's a real psychological thing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I have a grandma who's like that.
What?
She's a pathological liar,
really?
and she to the point where she will completely believe something is true, even though
pass a lie detector test.
Absolutely know it. Like there's actual proof, you know. And she used to do it the entire time, and genuinely, you almost feel sorry for that person because she doesn't think she's ever lied, and she thinks everything's true, and
will die rather than
and you're like, and I feel sorry. I genuinely feel
they can
sorry.
be quite convincing as well. Like, and you're like, maybe I am wrong. You're like, I don't know, maybe the moon is made of cheese. I don't know.
There's a guy when I was about 21, and he was pathological liar. I didn't know what one was. And he would lie. And the problem with them is, if some people will go, oh, shut the fuck up, and they'll stay away from them. But if you listen to them and you don't want to be rude, they'll then get bigger and bigger, like to the point where you go, is like, I've got to back off from here. Because it was just like, what are you talking about? This is like not sane, like what you're saying. But he believed it at the time. But that's like a psychological condition. If you're there and all you're doing is lying constantly about anything. Because I always thought we lie about certain things. No, don't lie about anything.
Yeah. So, sometimes you can see why people sometimes would lie for gain, for personal gain,
absolutely.
or
for not hurting someone,
or to avoid consequences to their actions in some cases. You know what I mean? You go, okay, if there's a sort of end point, but then there are some people who just do it for the thrill joy of it. You know what I mean? Just they really get into it.
When I started educating myself, I did look into this when I got into psychology, neurology, and all that, and they were saying most of it from their experience now of having most of it, there tends to be there would have been a strict figure in their life that was punishing them a lot, and they realised if I just lie, it's the easiest way of getting out of it because I've got no way of getting out of things. So they just start lying. What you've been doing? Nothing. Did you do that thing? No. And it just becomes the neurology of your body just develops to go, there's no different. I'm used to just saying anything. Yeah. And there's safety in lying. So, what you got to speak? Just lie. It's not a negative. They're not trying to do anything specific. Not sociopath. It's just, there's no, why just say a lie rather than something new? Because from a child,
they've been hurt
so they just make up a world that doesn't exist. And then they were saying, so that it's like they don't see anything in themselves. So if they create another image of that person over there, it sort of diverts from them. Because like, there's nothing inside me. So if I tell you all that stuff there, but then they lose perspective. So then it just gets bloody silly. No, I mean, this guy was telling me that the Oasis carried his coffin like down the M25 for his brother, who was no one, to block off the M25. And I was like,
Oasis?
Yeah.
The band?
Yeah, back then.
I thought you meant the drink.
No. Why did you go for the drink rather than the band? But he literally
I don't know what the fruit drink. I just suddenly thought the fruit drink. I was like, what, the company?
No, but he said his brother died, so that probably wasn't true. And said Oasis carried his coffin down the M25 and had to block off the M25. I was thinking,
all of those things don't sound real.
He was a thief as well.
Yes, well, you might have seen that footage that went around recently about the young lady busking
No.
Okay.
on the street.
London.
I don't know where the heck it was. And she was live streaming. And this old chap, it was England, this old chap walked up to her and went, "Some people got it, honey, but you don't." Yeah.
Oh no.
And I used to work with Diana Ross. And I wrote all her songs and whatnot. And I recorded with Diana Ross. And I know talent, you don't have any. And she just burst into tears.
Oh, no.
I was doing the rounds. And I was like, yeah, have you ever met an old man who just said that? I've met several old men who've claimed to have written I've written two separate old men, 2 separate times, who've claimed to have written all the Beatles songs.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, I think one of them is lying. One of them must be lying.
Yeah.
And I met another guy as well who said he wrote all the Bob Marley songs.
Wow.
He was a white chap in his 50s as well. And I was just...
The timeline didn't... There's
I had some doubts. And also I was sat on a bench in like Reading as well, like eating McDonald's with my mate. And
Where are you finding these people?
No, they just
Reading.
They find me.
Yeah. Oh, he's a magnet for going on public transport. Like unusually, like just. I think it's because I said you've got a nice demeanor. People give off an energy.
Yeah.
And some people will just give you a dirty look. People stay away from me. They think I'm not. I think with him, he'll just give a smile. And you go, "Oh, I've got one here. He'll put up with me. Let me go and sit next to him."
I was in Reading and there was a guy and he was obviously nuts. He didn't have a shirt on and he was pouring water all over himself. This was the
Was it a hot day?
This was this afternoon, so it was reasonably hot, but he was not hot enough to
for that amount of water.
Just to be
The
standing
water didn't warrant the...
like you're on fire, or
right.
in fear of being catching on fire. And then he's sort of scanning the crowd. He sort of went... And I looked up, made eye contact with him. I was like, "Oh, for God's not again!" And so I just crossed the road. He's like, "Hey, hey!" I was like, "No,
leave me alone."
No, I was like,
He's throwing CDs at him.
So I just literally ran. I just ran off. Yeah,
yeah, that was a regular part of the show. We used to ask Charles.
Yeah,
how this
that's what I used to. Yeah, that's what
Charles's corner.
That's what I used to like. And now I work from home pretty much.
Right.
So, like,
You avoid it.
Yeah,
Forced indoors.
Yeah. Honestly, like when I used to commute regularly, it was like a regular occurrence. Yeah, it was like a regular. Right, who's bothered you on public transport this week? And I'd be like, well,
Oh no.
Oh dear. Well, what's her name? Yeah, I hope she does get some time. But I think when you've got money, you never do time. I don't think she will.
Get some time.
No, I do, because it's when you listen to the people. Again, you got to listen to the people that actually suffered because of what she did.
Yeah.
Not the will they hurt. No, people, old people said we had to go through. There was one with the breast cancer, and she said when we found out it was all bullshit. 10 months later, we had to go back and go through all that again, and it turned out I did have something, and that woman, this and that. But they never. Do you know the private prisons have caught on over here?
Yeah, well, I know there are
prisons in America, but I thought it was like 1 or 2. There's 12 now. One of them,
G4 Security.
Yeah, there's about 3 companies.
Yeah.
There's G4S. Yeah, there's about 3 companies. I think the one in Birmingham had to be closed down because it was so violent.
I think that they are typically some of the worst. I know that, like, I think 8 of the worst prisons in the country, the top 10 worst prisons in the country were private ones. They are statistically always usually in special measures, and they have very high suicide rates, very high drug use, very high violence against inmates and prison guards and stuff. So they are dysfunctional.
But it doesn't make sense.
Bad idea.
Think of running it as a business. Some bloke.
It's just ridiculous.
And you go, and you're not going to cut corners, are you? When we give you the investment, when you get the money, you open the jail, and you've told us everything, and there's guards everywhere. You're not going to start cutting. You're not going to start not looking or hiring people that aren't qualified. No. They're all going to be this well dressed, and there's going to be loads of security guards, and you've got to stick to that. And then we'll get rid of it.
Well, it's because if they're thinking about profit,
it's a business.
Well, how can you possibly have anything that's...
And they've already done the experiments in America, because they're everywhere in America. And they know that they take some of their profits and fund drug to keep drugs illegal.
To keep their own cycle going.
But surely they're invested in keeping people in jail.
Yeah, of course they are.
We've trusted them not to do that.
Well, have you seen Orange is the New Black?
I haven't seen that.
That whole, tons of seasons of
it.
It's a private prison. That is a private prison.
That's dystopian. And now it's made it into England.
Yeah.
Just so give them
this sort of creeping of the private sector into public services is,
and it's all to do with backhanders. It's never some random company. It's always, why are you doing it? Like the mask. It's not well, who's going to give us the best deal? It's like,
you're my mate.
Yeah, I know
so
you.
I'll give you the money.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the like the Conservatives with us, with all that
it's Pango from uni. Yeah, he's bloody good chap.
Yeah.
He doesn't even run a PPE company.
No, he's got a marketing
we're just giving the money. Yeah.
But it's
bloody Pango,
and they're supposed
definitely how they speak.
of course,
they're supposed to be the ones that are fiscally responsible. And you go, oh right, we forgot you're supposed to be the Conservatives, supposed to be that party of that.
Yeah,
and you're not. So you're not even the thing that you've basically.
That's the minimum we expect. It's like low taxes, fiscally conservative, and you're not even doing and tough on crime.
Yeah.
What are you doing? The thing is, their whole crackdown now is like people who do drugs. Drug users, we're going to really crack down on that now. And so
crack down on immigration.
The crackdown on the cannabis smokers as well. Because technically it's still 5 years on the books. And they said we want to see more people getting time. We're going to take people's passports. We're going to take people's driving licenses. We're going to make sure these people don't get jobs. If you get caught with any drugs, you make sure you won't be able to get a job again. And they're also asking people to report. If you see someone or suspect someone taking drugs, you should report them because this is an illegal crime and, we need to crack down. So...
as long as it's not in the Houses of Parliament.
I was going to say, that's the only place where
don't look over here. Look around.
Look away.
I'll tell you
now
what.
You can look back.
There was, in Stephen Fry's autobiography, I think it's the last one, he starts listing off every place. Buckingham Palace. He literally goes, Buckingham Palace, BBC Manchester, BBC London, the Jonathan Ross show, the Groucho Club. He goes through about 15 and he goes, these are all places I've done cocaine.
Wow.
And they said, I feel like I have to apologise. Buckingham Palace.
But
Buckingham Palace.
Everywhere you know is done it.
If you were going to though, if you could, if you're like, oh, I got invited to Buckingham Palace.
That's kind of when, you'd be like, that's the story, right?
Time to drop some acid.
But you think there, you'd go, well, what? I'd understand if you're going to a party or something, but what, are you going for tea and biscuits? And he was a drug addict. Like,
Maybe it's a really awful visit.
Just boredom. We went
I mean, I would not want to go. So
he's just sat there gurning in a corner.
Oh God, I love it because I tell you why I love Stephen Fry.
And the Queen looking him funny, just like, okay.
Because if anyone judges anybody for being a certain type of person, you only have to list who he is. Because everyone loves Stephen Fry. Everyone would have it and just go,
brilliant.
Right, he got done for fraud as a kid. He took credit cards and went off and stole from friends, stole from everyone. He's a cocaine addict for years, did cocaine in all these places. He was a 55-year-old bloke who then married somebody that was like 21,
really
22.
Young, yeah.
No one said anything because they go, oh.
Well, Stephen Fry.
Yeah, so we don't worry about all the stuff. And you go, if you just wrote that on paper, this 50-year-old man has married this young boy who was a coke addict and spent time in jail. I mean, I hate, because I just like the model of what he leaves behind for anybody that judges anyone else to go, right, what about him? What about the things that he did there? But he's like really like mortified. He said, I was like a thief. I would steal from other kids at school. I'd go through all, and he goes through he doesn't like let it off. He said, I remember like they all be in playing school and I'd playing sports and I'd go and I'd jingle all the jackets and I'd take all the coins out and I'd lie to anyone about anything. And I took credit cards from people I knew and then just went on a spending spree. Just didn't give a shit. Just he said, I was a little thief. I didn't care. Like amoral little
I'm going to read this book.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
But you got what to read them in
He's
order.
managed to get 3 autobiographies out.
Yeah,
He did
I
a
think
lot.
Moab is my wash pot is the first one. Stephen Fry's, but I've listened to them all about 4 times because they go back like 20 years. The first one, and it starts when he was a kid. The public school, we've mentioned this before. We said lost me virginity. Some older boys, all the stuff that goes on at those public schools, just all at it. Because you're a child, being pulled away from your parents, and there's kids there that are 4 years older than you that are sort of battle hardened from being away. And he said they were just getting in bed with him, doing what you want.
Wow.
He said he lost his virginity. A kid said to him, meet me around the back of the thing. I didn't know what he was talking about. I went round there. He bent me over. He stuck his penis up my bum, a few pumps, and he walked off. And he said, the guy's involved in media now. You know who he is, but I'm not going to say his name out of respect. But he said, it was just, that's what people
That's just what it was. Yeah.
Which was, I remember having this conversation with you a while back, and I still got someone to boarding school and stuff. And like, and I just, it was completely opposite because no one could be gay. Like there wasn't obviously
That's what I thought.
because people said this. Oh, you went to boarding school. You must know
yeah.
loads of gay people. It must have everyone was bumming everyone probably.
Yeah.
And it was just it's like a YMCA
Yeah.
video or whatever. Just going mad. But I was like, no, quite the opposite. No one,
But see,
no one, and
yeah.
people did come out immediately as soon as they finished.
Yeah.
Because obviously people were gay. But
Yeah.
I didn't know about it. But like maybe they were upstart. I don't know. But like just you could not be.
It's a thing to attack.
Yeah.
But I think it's just one of those top 2-3 places, where everyone there is going to be a politician. Everyone there is going to run the major companies.
Yeah.
Because he says at one point, it wasn't they were just having sex. He said he fell in love with this kid. He said the first kid just turned up and like, I couldn't do anything. He was so beautiful and all that. And he said one bloke turned up and the other kid said to Stephen, look at the arse on that. I wouldn't mind having a piece of arse. And they're like 13.
Wow.
And you go, so they knew.
It's different
culture,
it's just almost.
Yeah, so
It's like a bubble, though, isn't it? It's their own.
that's what I mean. I
world
reckon there's just certain places that are the top, not a very, very good school or it's an elite school, but those 1-2 where everyone's parents are millionaire that's going to a thing. There's something.
You're saying that old Etonians might have an issue with dealing with the consequences of their actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be on something. I don't know. Might have to look that up. Yeah.
But anyway,
nice segue.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Politics.
I knew we were going there.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much because it's just depressing.
It is depressing. It's deeply depressing. We're down to 2. We're down to the last.
But don't you think it's funny? The 2 that I think, like, I've got to the point where I found it amusing.
I don't even know what you're talking about. The 2 what?
Liz Truss is just. She's not even
the
a
robot.
human, really. Yeah, exactly. I don't think she's human.
Right. I've never even heard her speak, but I just.
She did. The first time I ever saw her was like on some sort of. It was just a news video, and it was her introducing some sort of like trade thing about cheese. Did you see that? Yeah. And like that's
all I can
think
of
about.
Brexit.
Yeah, she's cheese woman. And she did this thing where she announced like, oh, I've got this great news about cheese. And then she froze on the word cheese with this smile for, I'm not kidding, like 10 whole seconds.
Did you pick the remote up and go?
Yeah, like is something broken? She's just weird.
Loading.
Wants to run the country. How can cheese women run the country? Like, I'm absolutely baffled.
It's so depressing. It is so. I like that you've just gone Joker mode on it. Like, you're just like, it's good. It's funny.
And Rishi Sunak as well. Like everyone seems to have forgotten that he got a fine, and they've all forgotten his billionaire wife who's still trading with Russia. So it's like, what? You got to laugh. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like this is
stop
insane.
and go, what is the point talking about it?
It's just so
we're laughing
stupid.
at
I love the fact that they've trying to remold his image as a self-made man from humble beginnings, immigrant background, pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
By marrying a millionaire.
By marrying multi like hundreds worth a lady worth hundreds of millions. I mean, okay. Pulled himself, humble beginnings. They say he was born above a chemist's. And I was like, yes, that his mother owned and his dad was a GP.
So he wasn't really that humble.
Yeah. They had a combined salary, and they said, "Oh well, no, because he went to Winchester School, which is a very posh, expensive public boarding school.
Yeah,
one of the top 4 or 5 most expensive schools in the country." And they said, "But he got a scholarship, and he earned that scholarship, and he paid for those fees himself. He was there on merit." No, they actually had a documentary. It's really interesting. The Channel 4 News did an expose about him. They actually had, he was in a documentary about 15, 16 years ago. He just left uni. Yeah. Well, just started university. And he was like, "Oh no, my parents, I didn't get a scholarship." Those words came out, and the parents were like, no, we worked very hard and we paid for those fees ourselves.
Wow.
And then they cut and they had a montage of all these different MPs saying, no, he was on a scholarship, and just, they're on merit, and he's just, pulled himself up by his bootstraps. It's all rubbish.
It's just lies.
Yeah.
Was he the one that went into the petrol station? Did you see that?
Yeah, and it wasn't his car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you see when he went to pay and he didn't know what to do? He had the cart and he put it up on the machine. He held it up like that on the plastic. He held it up.
Like Paul.
Yeah. He didn't know how to pay for it.
He did that thing where he went,
yeah.
I don't know how to pay for stuff.
He doesn't know how to pay for stuff. That's how dumb he is. And then it turns out the car that he'd filled with petrol, I don't know how he managed to fill the petrol.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't even his.
But how did he get arrogance? How did he find his way there? Just sort of wandered there.
But it just goes to show that you have to realise how removed they are. Yeah. I don't know how to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pay for stuff. So just widen that. And now I'm talking about you in your life. You go,
you don't know anything about my life.
It'd be like me talking about something in Ghana.
Yeah.
And go, are you sure he knows? Well, I've got no reference points for anything.
Yeah.
It's not, they've got more money than us. Their whole world is completely different.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, is that they're trying to sort of reshape his life story to make it more relate. He's saying, I'm just an average middle-class person, and I've got middle-class aspirations.
Oh,
and
God. He couldn't
and-
be further from
Yeah.
it.
yeah, and they literally went round and they were like, okay, so here's the house he bought for cash for 18 million. I think
Wow.
it was in Palm Beach or somewhere. And then here's the place he rented. So he was sent out by this hedge fund when he was a partner, and he was like
Yeah.
24 or 25. You know, he was headhunted. You know, he's headhunted. Goldman Sachs, postgrad scheme, and fast tracked and all this. And then here's the beach house that he rented for $20,000, like I think it was $19,000 a month, right on the beach. Beautiful place, but like
Wow.
it's just like he. And then
But
here's
this-
the office he founded, and there's this huge office block, and I was like, this is really interesting, because maybe track it down sometime if you ever could see it, because you will never ever see anything. I'll never see this again.
Yeah.
I'll never see the truth, the reality of this guy's background, and the actual truth of his
Yeah.
background ever. This is the only time we ever
Because
get to
now
see it.
he's got this whole created facade that'll be thrown down everyone's throats.
But
and-
just, I don't know. It's just a comedy.
That's
There's
what I
nothing
mean,
to.
yeah.
Or
Unless
is it a
you're gonna-
tragedy?
Yeah, yeah. But I just think in these conversations, say, right, are we doing anything? No. Okay, well then, when you why talk, because you're just going to be 10 years in ahead
Yeah.
saying the same things, but it'll be a lot worse. Can
Yeah.
you believe he killed that guy and it's nobody saying it? Yeah, it'll just get
Yeah,
worse. It's
you're
not going to
right.
get
It's
better.
getting worse,
And
yeah,
it does
yeah.
not stay the same. Entropy doesn't work like that. It
Yeah.
only they'll go, well, we got away with that. So we
What's
did
next?
that.
Yeah.
And your grandkids will be growing up with all the privacy gone.
Yeah.
Well,
The other day,
the awful truth is, though, that Rishi Sunak is the best candidate. And
I
that's
know.
the-
How sickening is that?
That's the worst thing, because Liz
Like,
Truss
yeah.
is even worse, and you're just like,
Yeah.
ah.
But in a way, I feel like if Liz Truss makes it, then there's a glimmer of hope, because surely then as a party, they will be voted out,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like she's that bad.
Yeah,
So-
she's utterly incompetent.
Yeah,
So that's the competency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend that used to work for her, and she said she was very Devil Wears Prada kind. She was a really horrible person. So there's that behind her as well. She was nasty to everybody. She was
right,
evil,
needlessly
like,
nasty.
those people that are just like power,
Yeah.
power drunk and just. But she's an idiot with it.
Yeah.
So,
That's the thing, is you can kind of get away with that, like while you're successful, and
Yeah.
while you're making the big bucks, and while you're getting results.
yeah.
People don't stick up. People just, as soon as you start flaking on that,
Yeah.
I always say it's like Jose Mourinho. Everyone puts up with the attitude when he's winning games and the
Until,
weird
yeah.
stuff, and then as soon as he starts losing a couple, you're like, nah, sorry mate, you're out.
Yeah.
A guy I knew who's worth a lot of
Yeah.
money. He went to private. I don't know which one, but he said to me he went to school with people that were stupid and shouldn't have even been in the classes. They should have been left back. Who are now high up in. I'm not going to say the company,
God,
but
we're
higher.
so doomed.
And he
aren't
was saying, and I've had long conversations with him, and he said, the jobs aren't what you think they are. They are just, they get someone
Yeah.
that they know, and they put him in a position. They don't look at their CVs. It is just, well, you know him,
Yeah.
bung him in there, and if you can do the job, sort of get away with it and not get arrested, then you stay there. And then another job pops up, and now you know the blokes, and now you go over there, and it's not
you fell
what you get to.
upwards.
Yeah,
Yeah, you fell
It's as long
upwards,
as you
yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
something ridiculously bad. If you can just turn up and answer the phone, we can always get you help. The things
Yeah.
you don't know, you get someone. And he said it's more that, and your brain goes, it can't be.
Oh, it is.
You go, no, it is, but it's just not for you. It isn't, but up the top, it is.
But as soon as you get to that position,
Yeah.
again, it's like, to use the analogy of football managers. Like, if you get onto that circuit, if you become a football manager and you manage a football team, it doesn't matter it kind of doesn't really matter how
Yeah.
badly you do. You can kind of always get a
People
job
around.
You're always
usually.
there now.
Yeah, because you've had that experience, because other people have employed you.
Yeah.
You've reached that level. Other people have employed you. Oh, so they must be competent enough to be employed
Yeah.
to that level.
Yeah.
That's literally how it works. That's how it works for sort of a lot of positions, particularly senior positions.
Yeah.
In any public service, private sector.
Yeah,
really does,
This
you know.
fella, he said to me about working in finance, how he started before he went into property, and he said you can go. You see, like on the floor when they're doing the NASDAQ and all that, and they're shouting and screaming. He goes, "You'll go on there, you won't know what they're talking about. Within a week, you'll go, oh, I know what he's saying, and oh, this is easy. It's just you think you've got this facade of why things are so difficult."
Yeah.
He said it's why they still like teaching Latin. because it keeps certain children out that aren't taught Latin at school. So if you're going to go to the medical profession or the legal profession, you're taught that at school at Oxford and all that. Latin is part of your curriculum. If you're not from a working class, it's a big leap to start learning Latin that you might not be getting.
Utterly pointless.
Yeah.
I remember
It's ridiculous.
just keeps you locked out of
Yeah.
certain
It's
professions.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
Utterly
Why would you need Latin?
Yeah.
In case you bump into a Roman.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
I,
I can't think of another reason.
No.
I know enough. I know enough Latin to buy a newspaper. You know,
No, but
order a pint. You know,
he said
get
they
it
like
factory,
it.
Yeah.
Oh, because this is something a few months ago, and they're talking about banning Latin from schools at all. But they said they're not going to do that at private schools because
No,
they
of
know
course
it's a
not, 'cause
way
it
of
sets
keeping
them
people
apart.
out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, Boris
exactly,
Johnson, he loves to throw in a Greek god, or
He
Latin
did, got a
term.
degree in classics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Got a degree in classics.
Oh, anyway, let's just get. I hate politics. Go on,
Yeah.
get out your system, Charles.
All right, I read something in the Telegraph this morning.
Bloody hell.
Well, the Telegraph is kind of like it's, like the last minute in an old person's brain when they're dying
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if someone took that moment and then just made a continuing newspaper and published that every day, really in newspaper format.
What do they come down as? The Telegraph.
Weird old people,
Oh, okay.
conservative, right wing,
Okay.
but particularly
Yeah.
old man yells at cloud,
Yeah,
like
okay.
that kind of stuff. And they were saying apparently, and I did check this. Apparently, some of his Boris Johnson's advisors have come out and said, yes, Boris Johnson is confident that he will be prime minister again within a year.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
I mean, he won't.
No, he won't.
He's
that's
utterly deluded.
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah.
What they'll sink to, it doesn't.
They're not going to go
Yeah.
back because you're useless, mate.
You're so bad. And also, they're never getting back in because it was so hard to get him out.
Yeah.
Like, they had to really boot him out. So,
he just doesn't
He
have the fan
clung on.
base. Yeah, he doesn't have the
But,
and he's
yeah.
still not gone.
Yeah. So stop talking like he's gone.
That's the thing. Rory Stewart, another a Tory guy who was chucked out of the party when he didn't vote for his Brexit deal. So he he lost the whip and was eventually voted out. So he got chucked out of the Tory party and then being a Tory MP by Boris Johnson. He said that he did exactly the same thing when he was fired from being foreign secretary. He stayed on for three weeks.
Oh, made me saying,
Wow.
Yeah.
Save a bit of rent money.
Yeah, and they're like, dude, you've been fired. We've had a reshuffle. You need to leave the office now. And he's like, nah,
just no.
just no. And they're like, well, the new guy needs to use the computer, like the office
Oh, wow.
and the staff. And he's like, nah. And then they had like he has an apartment or whatever that he was using. And he said, well, I don't have anywhere to rent. I haven't rented anywhere. So
So I'll stay here, thanks.
yeah, I was just going to stay here for a while.
Gosh.
And it's just like, no, it doesn't work like that.
You can't do
I knew this chick, right? And she was, I won't say she's from Hertfordshire. And the mum and the dad had broken up. The mum had said she's a lesbian at like 40 something. And he said, I ain't leaving. So she moved the new chick into the house.
Oh, no.
And they all lived together.
No.
I thought, how stubborn.
That's so bad.
Eventually you'd go, all right,
This
okay,
is
I'm going.
awkward.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is like, we'd go, no, I'm staying out here. I'm not, it's my ass.
Oh,
That's so
Just petty, like,
yeah.
depressing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could just hear people just coming and going,
Yeah.
having a couple having fun, and you're
Yeah.
just sat there like
nope,
watching Corrie in your
poison,
underwear.
the whole atmosphere, just
Whatever you
the
get
whole
up to.
atmosphere of poison, like gas.
Yeah.
You could just see
So
it
just
every-
imagine you're just
slump-
at this
yeah,
going,
dying slowly.
It's a countdown.
yeah, waiting to die.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking outlive her.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Right, let's positive. Up.
Oh, I've got a positive thing.
Yeah.
But well, it's not positive. Is it laughable? It's
Yeah.
laughable. I find
Okay.
it funny.
Yeah.
So it was literally on BBC News when you click in through, all the dreadful, terrible. And then Bake Off have a musical. Have you seen that?
Okay,
And
yes,
why?
I did.
Is this a
And I'm
cooking
really
programme?
sure we're doomed because of this. Like, how is
But
this
everything's got a
happening?
musical now, haven't we?
But
Can you
Bake
check?
Off.
We haven't
Bake
got
Off?
one, David. Just
But Bake Off. Okay, yeah, because I honestly, it kind of short-circuited my brain
Yeah.
because there was a sketch in the Amando Nucci show, which was Amando Nucci, a writer-producer, did In the Thick of It.
Yeah,
Oh, he did Coogan and all that.
You worked on Anne Partridge
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well, yeah. Did lots of stuff and has done a bunch of films recently. Death of Stalin stuff, which is great. David Copperfield, Adventures of David Copperfield, which was also really good. So he did the sketch show about 20 years ago. And one of the jokes was he was like, well, I decided to give opera a go. This was one of the sketches. And he goes, so I went and saw Ibiza Uncovered, the opera.
Wow.
And they were going, I'm going to shag the rep. I'm going
my
to
God.
shag the rep. And they go, there are more Australians here than last year and stuff. And
What
like,
if you're
he's
into
just,
opera and this turns up?
and like, he's just sort of looking around going, and he's looking through the programs going, "None of this makes any sense." But that was a joke. Like 20 years ago, that was a joke. And I remember that because I had a good old laugh at it. And then now,
this is real.
now it's just real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally they've got a song
Yeah.
about it's. I think it's called In the Tent.
Yeah.
Like so have you seen the Bake Off? It's
No.
like, so it's a cooking show
Oh,
where they
I'd
bake
stand-
cakes
yeah,
essentially and like
But
and
there
they've
has to be
got,
a storyline.
well, that's the thing. There's no storyline to Bake Off. So I have no idea what the
Just an
storyline
excuse to sing
the-
songs.
It's just gonna be, is it really, I don't know. It's
Did
just-
you ever see Jerry Springer, the musical?
Yeah,
Oh
I
dear
did
God,
too.
yeah.
You did? What was
I
the
saw bits of it.
storyline?
I can't remember.
It was, he ended up doing the show in Hell or Heaven and Jesus. I forget. They showed it on TV once
Yeah.
on BBC, I think, years ago, about 10, 15 years ago, because it's written by
No idea.
comedian.
Oh, right. It's a comedy.
It's comedy, yeah.
Okay.
And it's a satirical comedy.
Oh, okay.
And and he ends up, it's Jesus and the devil end up
Oh,
like
wow.
having,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
have a big thing.
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
comes out in a nappy and stuff and ends up fighting the devil. And like it's still, I think it's still the thing with the most complaints ever.
I saw a thing that was online.
Because of the religious things. Always people always complain.
There was something talking.
Yeah.
It was showing. They were doing cuts of like Jerry Springer being moral to people that are prostitution and all that, like on his show. "Oh, you're not living in your family, and then the cut, and it's just him paying a prostitute. Like, there you go. That's it. That's it. At the
Yeah.
time, oh God, we people, what do you like? And then I'm paying a prostitute with a check. That's
weird.
surely like a masochism thing. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
caught. I'm
Yeah.
definitely I'm gonna commit an illegal act and pay with a check. So
Pay
you've
with
got my
something
name.
with my name on it. Yeah.
And I'm Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
It's like, you know who I am. And you go, are you sure? If I was
Oh
a
my
prostitute,
God.
I go, are you sure you want to give me that? And then go, that's not his name on it. Is his name on there? Are you sure you want to do this?
Must be a different one.
This won't
different Jerry
backfire.
Springer.
Yeah.
It's just like, couldn't you just go to a cash point?
Yeah.
I mean, are you that lazy? Yeah.
But
You're doing an
Everyone
illegal
knows who you are.
transaction.
You know she knows who you are. And I'm going to give you something with my name on it as a criminal transaction. You go, that's got to be you're wanting to get caught some perversion thing.
Or you're just that arrogant that you could
It's
get
just
away
off the
with
chart that I can't
anything.
see that arrogant.
Yeah.
It's so far
Yeah.
away. You go,
Yeah.
well, I'm me. Who are
Yeah,
you?
no one's going to arrest me. I do what I want. I
You're-
have a musical about me.
Oh, God.
Well, you're Prince Andrew and you're going to Epstein's house after Epstein got out of prison. And you know that
I
he's
think maybe it
going
is.
with your collar up. But don't worry, because you see that foot
Oh
when
my
he goes,
God.
he's got his collar up, so he should be fine. He goes going,
It's
Yeah.
completely hidden.
yeah.
I hadn't thought
Yeah.
till you said that. Maybe it is that it's so far out of your remit that you actually can't see
Yeah.
that level of arrogance.
Yeah.
They're making a film apparently about that interview about the Prince Andrew interview.
Oh
Making a
yeah,
film
I heard about that.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
They've been talking
my
about Hugh Grant doing it.
No.
He said, "No, I don't want to do it because I don't want to play a nonce."
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
alleged nonce.
Yeah. Fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah, God, I can't even legally.
I can hear helicopters
Yeah.
above the building as we speak.
Can't even legally call him a nonce. I'd say alleged nonce.
Right, stop saying it.
Alleged. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I'm saying, there's no.
I don't
proof. There's
know.
not
I don't
enough
know if
proof.
that-
It's just what a well with him.
Right, we've got to get off of this subject for the love of God. Right,
But no,
quickly.
apparently, like after the interview, because apparently there is a bit more. Because the lady who did the interview, she said, "Oh, there's loads more
Right,
that
yeah.
we didn't see." Because apparently, like afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, I think that went really well."
Oh my God.
Arrogance.
Wow.
And like she's like,
Yeah.
"What?" And they just wanted to get the hell
Or the
out of it. 'Cause
jaws
They knew
of
what
the
they
fear.
had on their hands. They're
Right,
like,
yeah.
"Right, we need to get the hell out of here and get
Yeah.
this edge. This is
Copy that 6
gold.
times.
Yeah,
Spread out.
yeah. I need to get the dead man's.
You go
switch.
to North London, you go to South London.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Right, well, listen, we've got 10 minutes. We're going to get off of this. Holly, you got another show out?
Oh yeah, released this week. I did an interview with world champion Natasha Jonas. She's really cool actually.
Do you only interview people that got world championship belts?
So far, yes. No, obviously everyone's very
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah.
It's about the story behind it, but obviously these guys are they've had a really great career. They're still, they're right at the top. They're at the peak.
You
so
said
it's
you're
really
going to watch the
interesting.
UFC now?
Yes, so tonight I love
Live,
UFC.
or you're going to TV it?
So I haven't got tickets for this one, but I need to know. Like obviously, I need to be in
I
the
know.
loop.
I was speaking to somebody. She was trying to get her on the show. She interviews all the MMA people in America. She's
Oh,
quite well known
amazing.
over there.
I'd recognise her. I'm sure
She's
I've watched
British,
those. Yeah, I
but
would've
she's
watched
over there.
them.
It's a curious community. Some of the MMA, the male MMA fighters.
I love
they are,
MMA. I think it's really like
they're strange.
they're
bunch.
hilarious. Like tonight, one of the reasons why it's so brilliant, we've got three really epic
Women.
British fighters. One woman, she's called Molly McCann. She's called Molly Meatball. No, but do you know
Oh,
what? I
no.
don't know why, and I'm going to look that up.
Right.
But she's really incredible, like really fiery. There's a guy called Paddy Pimlet who's he's so weird. You can't out-weird him. And he's got like this, and that's his thing. He's like, don't try and out-weird me. And he has all these face-offs with these other fighters, and like they don't stand a chance because the stuff that he says. Like he was calling someone the other day, I don't know why, but he was like, no, you're just a crab. It's like, what's a crab? Like it's just a new insult that he's decided. But he's a great fighter.
And this is UFC, British.
Yeah, so it hardly ever comes to London. So it's normally me waking up.
Oh, but you're watching on TV, but it's in London.
But it's in London, so it's here and it's actually live.
Is it free on TV? We have to pay.
I believe it is. Yeah, it's free, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
Or it might be on BT Sport. So if you're already, it's not a pay-per-view or anything.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure it's BT Sport.
Well, you don't want to go home and sort of get the pot noodle out and put your feet up and go,
ready.
50 quid. No,
it's definitely not. I'm pretty sure it's BT Sport. So
I met Hoist Gracie once in a boxing club in. It was this weirdest club, but God bless them. It was just a back street, literally a back street boxing club you used to go to, and then walked in and he was just there. I go, what's he doing here? It's like in Chigwell or something like that. And he just stood there. I thought, I recognise that bloke. That same size as me, a bit thinner. And I thought, and someone went, oh, that's Hoist Gracie. What's he fucking doing
Did you
here?
chat to him?
No, I wasn't bothered about all that sort of stuff. But the guy that run the gym was just had his nose broken one way, then the other way, then back the other way again. Like it was ridiculous. Nicest guy in the world.
Get it straight.
Yeah, no, he didn't. But he was
flattened it out. Did he,
if you
instead?
saw him, but he's a nice. He did a like charity up the back. So but you'd have pictures with him and Downing Street, Mike Tyson next to me. I used to do security for his unlicensed fighting events in South Chigwell. Great guy. I should have got in contact with him actually. But yeah, he runs a boxing club. But yeah, I walked in and I thought, I was looking at him. I thought, honest, arrogant at the time. I thought, right, I could take 3 of that bloke there, stood there at the time.
Yeah.
I thought, no, he could probably kill me.
Yep.
No. But to look at him, you're going, no.
Yeah, there are loads of fighters like that. Where you're just like, what?
And
then
like
they get in the
50
ring
at
and
the
they
time.
just destroy the other person. You're like, how?
See, so the problem was when I left I'd spent so many years doing violence and things. It was the first thing I had to cut out. I thought, I can't watch that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I remember dating somebody. She's a ballerina. And I was into it at the time. It was when it first come out.
Yeah.
The
when
third,
there were no rules.
The third one, when they
Literally no
sort of
rules,
cleaned it up a little bit, but it was still that first before the investment came in. And I had it on. I was like, oh, this amazing thing. And I'm working nightclubs 5-6 nights a week. And she went, and I remember the look on her face when she went, you don't watch that, do you? And I'm like, yeah, it's silly people. And it's only years later when I remember seeing, oh, right, I get it now.
Oh, no.
Because it's when you're out of it.
Yeah.
You just don't want nothing to do with violence. It's not funny. I know what it is. I know people that are in hospital, people with brain damage, I've had concussions. I know, I can't read now because the concussions I've had and things that I've had. And then you go back and look and there's somebody kneeing somebody in the face and you go, oh, right, yeah, now I know, I get it. That look on her face. And it happened with somebody else, a guy. And he's saying, why are you watching this stuff? And I think, oh, you don't know what you're watching. This, the warrior spirit and all that. But it's only now I look back and I think, oh, God. So I had to, and it was one of many things I had to cut out. Any violent film, any fighting, anything YouTube, I just cut it all. But then I went back to it years later and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. But having said that, I've always said, like a friend of mine had a kid and he's a bit mad and the dad isn't there. So he's got a load of energy and all that. I said, you need to get him into jiu-jitsu or something like that.
Yeah, because it's so good.
You need, not like boxing or anything, because that's attack. And most sports, you want to have a benefit that it's going to help me defend myself. Like that's what it's supposed to do. But a lot of them, you're not going to learn how to defend yourself because you need to be doing it actively every day. And you can't do that with boxing. You need to be a kickboxer or you need to be fighting. There's no point punching pads because there'll be one day somebody will headbutt you.
And you need to know how to respond
and you go,
to that.
oh, I'm not used to this. My biology wasn't being trained. So now you panic and you revert back to what you know as a child, pushing and things like that. But you can't. But at least with jiu-jitsu and things like that, you can go full on, and you're not going to. Even if you get choked out, it's not going to kill you. As long as you're fine. But I said, yeah, and that will get rid of all his energy. It's good for him, and you can go at it, and you'll be able to defend yourself.
Good for your body as well.
Yeah,
it's like good for your mind
So I came back to it a little bit, but I just can't watch this when people start getting the faces split open. I go, that just reminds me of nightclubs. It's not.
Yeah, they do stop it very quickly now, though. They've got really.
Yeah, I mean, I
good
don't know
with
anything about it
UFC.
now.
Like now, it's actually, I would say. A lot of people they think it's crazy, but I think that UFC is less dangerous than boxing because with boxing, it's you could be punched in the head continuously for like 12 rounds.
It's just concussion. That's all it
Yeah,
is,
yeah, and who knows what's going on after a period of years or whatever. But whereas in UFC, you have one smack, they're down, it's finished.
Yeah.
So it's not a case that it's just continual.
Yeah, I mean, if
punching
you had
and
to, if you
hitting.
put it one and they're rolling around, and they do kick and knee and all that.
A lot
but
of it's
then-
like wrestling as well. where
Yeah,
you're not
exactly.
actually
Oh, it's
physically being
grappling,
hurt. Yeah.
But then if you just showed boxing and it's bang in the head, bang in the head, bang in the head, you go,
it's continuous.
what?
Yeah.
Well, they know they've got, it's called, what is it called? Pugilism dementia. That's what the slow speech and all that
Yeah.
is, because you've messed up all the synapses in your brain. And I saw a documentary a couple of years ago, and it was all the people that had fought Ali, and they spoke about from their point of view, the fight leading up and how it all went and all like that. 5 blokes, I think there's 1 English, 4 Americans. 3 of them had subtitles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You go, and go, oh,
You
God.
can even tell some of the fighters now, like a couple of weeks ago, it was Chisora Pulev, and I love Chisora, I'm a massive fan of him, and he won, which was great. But at the end, when he had the interview, and even then you could tell he was just slightly punch drunk, and he was talking about another opponent who was like Wilder, who's incredibly powerful, and you're just like, don't stop now, stop while you can make that sentence,
because it's probably gone too far
close.
now, so don't add on to the problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying that in terms of like, no, actually just look after yourself, because people love him, and it's like, just let's stop.
Well, even like even heading a football, like they're talking
it's
about
not
banning
good.
that for kids under 12. They're talking about intentional heading, trying to ban intentional heading. So if it bounces off your head, that's something. But actually the art of it, actually
headers,
intentionally.
Yeah, so if you just took him
direct-
aside and filmed, you say, this is what in your future, and then just going to fast forward a video head on your head, that's what you're basically happening.
Because all those, a lot of older players now are getting dementia. You know what I mean? They're dying from dementia and all these types of Alzheimer's and stuff. They get all these types of neurological based issues. You know what I mean? And that's some of that is because especially those old balls. I mean, it's like a bloody like having a brick through it. And you're like,
bigger than the body torso.
I mean, like it's bad enough with like a sort of softball. You know, like I've seen people knocked out cold. You know what I mean? From a dead ball situation. You know what I mean? From a free kick or something. I've seen do take one about 10, 15 yards or whatever, and he just got knocked. It felt knocked complete cold. You know, leg twitching, all that. It was like really like.
Are you watching it as a fan, or are you reporting on something?
Both really, because where I do different radio shows and things, like I never know what I'm going to get asked, so I just have to be on top of
what radio shows. What do you mean?
Stuff. So I've been on TalkSport quite a few times.
Oh, with sports specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like I never really. I just have to cover all bases.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's I'm ready for whatever anyone's going to ask me about.
I'm going to try and put you in touch with this British chick. I think it's Abigail.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
She's really, really friendly.
Yeah.
She's in LA. She said when she comes back here, she's going to come on the show. But anyway, so anything else? What else you've been? Anything else?
Well, there's the women's Euros as well. The women's football. They're in the semi-final.
Yes, that was
so
a good
how far
match.
is that away from the final?
Well,
3.
semis.
Close now.
What's the one
2
before?
games.
So if they're in the semis now. If they win that, then they're in the final.
Yeah.
What's the one before the semi then?
Quarters.
Which we've just done.
Which they've just done. Yeah.
And who's the last teams?
So we just beat Spain. It was 2-1. It was very close, actually. Yeah, that first half was really dull, but the second half was brilliant. Then they've got Sweden next. Am I right about that?
Sweden won. Because Sweden won yesterday.
Yeah,
1-0,
so they'll be playing Sweden now.
And I don't know anything. The rules exactly the same for men. There's no different.
No,
exactly the same.
No.
Oh, okay.
And they're playing really well, actually. Because I'm not stupid. Like there is a difference in levels. Because obviously I follow like Premier League as well, and you're like, okay, it is a little bit different. However, this has been really entertaining. Like it's been really good.
Do you notice any difference? Like, are they more technical? Is there anything that would go, well, because of that, they're more, are they still as physical?
Yeah, for sure.
Knocking each other over, kicking the legs, bows and all that?
Yeah.
More
so sometimes.
Oh, really?
I thought the ref was good, actually.
Female ref?
Umpire team. But they just let things go. And I was like,
all
okay, people
the
falling. But with everyone, she wasn't biased or whatever. She was just like, no. People were sort of going, falling over, and they like, no, play on, and like you're just like, oh, okay, cool, brilliant.
Do they run and hug and all that? Same thing. High five.
Yeah. Honestly, it's
no difference at all.
No, it's really, really similar. Like I haven't, and I've been just as entertained, if more so.
Is there the spitting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even that.
I watched a bit of the Sweden game yesterday, I think, and there was a lady, and she was hocking up a lot of stuff.
Come on.
Yeah.
You want an upgrade.
Impressive.
To like,
some of them are like Yeah, they're quite
Flemmy.
Yeah, quite
Flemmy
funny.
people. Yeah.
No other
very,
sport.
very flemmy
Yeah.
people.
They're not ladylike. I wouldn't say.
But you thought they,
No.
I thought they'd clean it
No.
up a bit so it
No,
made the
no,
men
no.
look worse.
No,
No.
not at all. They just get right in there.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
All
But
right.
it's actually entertaining. It's decent.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good dramatic game.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
England game. It was quite tactical at times, and I appreciated that. And I thought England hung on in when they needed to,
Yeah.
and then attacked when they could. So they weathered the storm, and then the second half I thought they were a lot better.
Yeah.
And then when they started, and then they went goal down, heads didn't go down, and I thought I was impressed by the performance.
And then coming back at the end with that, they had this like lot of spark of energy.
Yeah.
And the people they've got on the bench are like, it's such a deep team that it's, you could chop and change as much as you liked. And so we've got loads of energy. Just
Where's the
coming.
World Cup? Where is it?
Where? I don't
What
know
country?
where the World Cup is.
the women's.
Oh, hang on.
the
What's
women's
this?
World
Oh,
Cup.
this is Euros. We're here.
Yeah.
It's so the final is at
In
Wembley.
England?
Yep.
Oh,
It's at
right.
Wembley.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
have they got a women's World Cup?
Yeah.
Yes. But I
Women's-
don't know where that's held.
Okay.
Oh, so it's a
No,
full-on
it's
thing
done.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's WSL as well.
What's
like
that?
Apollo, so that's Women's Super League. So
Yeah.
it's
Football.
essentially So every team I support Arsenal. So I support their female team as well, who are really good
Oh, okay.
actually. So and you can just dip in and out. It doesn't have as much coverage, but I think that after the Euros, I think they might start having a bit more.
The coverage is
Yeah.
is increasing. In fact, they
Yeah.
do have a few games here when they're on BBC, and
Yeah,
they
they
actually have a
do.
women's Super League show.
Yeah.
As well. Not occasionally, but every week,
Yeah.
and I do watch that occasionally because I do kind of keep up a bit with Reading here and there, but
Yeah,
just because it's in the
So they
sports
have-
section for the local area.
Yeah.
So I read men's team and the women's team stuff.
Yeah.
So they have female gangs like Millwall and Chelsea.
I
Chelsea
kind of hope so.
smile.
I don't know.
They charge at each other.
No,
That'd be
it's
good.
I might have been a bit
it's a
sarcastic.
bit. Well, I mean, I don't know because Reading's quite polite.
Okay,
We're a
right.
bit too polite at Reading. So
I wonder if the others do. I'm going to check it out now.
Is it specifically fighting and women and you cage fighting for your channel, or what's the ethos
So my
of it?
channel at the moment it's female fighters.
Right.
So I'm
But it's not in the name. Fight to fight.
the fight to fight. Yeah. So at the moment it's just champion female combat sports. Essentially.
Okay, right.
So whether it be MMA, boxing, obviously my first one, they're all boxing at the moment.
Yeah.
But actually no, they're not because I followed the MMA fighter for a while, but that was on a different channel.
Combat is the thing.
Yeah. For some reason I'm loving
You
it.
could
Yeah.
get them quite ambiguous. You could be like, well, is army veteran.
Like, how
well,
far
I
can
said-
we go?
Yeah, you could go
like-
Emma. What's the name on it?
No,
well,
it's good though.
What do you know you've got coming up next that you're going to be doing? Is it a monthly
yet.
podcast or is it just whenever you got the time to get one
It's
done?
mainly whenever I've got the time, to be honest, because I've got so many different projects going on
Yeah.
kind of all at once. So when I have time, also it depends on them because whether or not they're in camp. It
Yeah.
totally depends on whether they've had a fight or because sometimes they're either so depleted in energy they can't possibly
Yeah,
do
yeah.
anything or
not
sometimes they're on a
priority.
high because they've just won and then they'll be like, I'll speak to you.
Yeah.
So I found that works quite well.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you follow any sports? Up to football then?
Yeah, football,
I didn't
yeah.
know. I might use nothing. I've got nothing to reference points, so I'd never bring it up.
I was listening to a Reading friendly this afternoon. Actually,
Okay.
on the
A
old-
Reading friendly.
Yeah,
so
against
quaint.
Brighton.
Where I live, there's just over the road, it's a nicer location, and there's a cricket ground, 200 metres.
Yeah.
And I was there the other day, and I do know but something in my DNA, the sound of the ball hitting the bat was so relaxing. I could
It's
just
lovely,
I could
isn't
just
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the background. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, I'm quite relaxed. I don't
Yeah.
know where. I can barely see them in the background. So, and I,
Yeah.
How nice.
I thought, oh, I could just sit here by the window. It's the sound of that. What is it? Willow that they what's it?
Yeah.
It's a-
It's really, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's a really
It
calming
is,
sound, yeah.
it's quite a unique noise, isn't it?
I
It's
go
a
past
strange
it, I
sound
think,
effect, yeah.
if I could get away with it, I might get arrested as soon as I got on the green. I'd go and sit there. I'd go, come on, boys.
They would.
Yeah.
They would.
They love it. When
I'd
you
sit
go on a
out like
picnic.
they'd call the
Yeah.
bloody RSPCA to come and throw a net over.
Tease you, whatever.
Yeah. What's over there? But anyway, on me mocking myself, we'll finish it there. So, Holly, thank you for coming on again.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Enjoyed
so much for having me.
the
Yeah,
UFC. Are you going to watch
thank
any UFC, Charles?
You gonna watch
UFC.
tonight? You gotta watch tonight.
Maybe.
No.
I promise it's gonna be a really good night. The top 3, 4 fights.
Where are
is
you
gonna be
watching? Are you going to a
incredible.
pub or something?
No, because I'm very serious about this, and I
Oh,
don't
you have
like
to sit
people
there and-
talking
yeah.
or
Gotcha.
ruining it for me. I'm deadly. Yeah, I'm really serious about it. We once had people around for an AJ fight, and I was so cross. And since then, I have never
Who's
had a
AJ?
soul. Anthony Joshua.
No.
So when he was doing obviously a
I
world
worked with
title
his
fight.
stepdad.
Did
So
you
yeah,
really?
he used to tell me stories about he was dating. So he's got a kid with his daughter.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I remember I used to chase him into his mum's house. I remember him hiding behind the sofa
Wow.
trying to get him out of the house because they were together. He was with his girlfriend for like 15 years, like from a child,
Wow.
like up to like the age of when he had his first kid. They were together
Yeah.
all the time, but there was problems. I think they live in East Finchley or something like that. I think he used to go to the gym I used to go to there. But he said, yeah, he's a good kid. Like, he was a good bloke.
Yeah.
He is. He's a really humble fighter as well. Like, he's got a massive fight coming up on the 20th of August to try and get all his titles back because he lost them all.
Yeah.
Whether or not he will is another subject.
But to be anyone to regard you as a nice bloke when you're the champion, like a heavy, violent sport,
Heavyweight
and you
champion of
go,
the world,
forget it. That's not an easy thing to keep up, like to be that nice. Right, anyway, so thank you very much, Holly.
Yes,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Cheers,
Sorry.
and thank you,
Have a
David.
good one. Bye.
Hit it, David.
Thank you. Good night.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than